Hello, hello, hello. I am Valerie Mason Chase, and I'm here with my husband.
Frank Jason.
And welcome, Marriage Beyond the Breach. Today we are going to have what we call Marriage Matters. And in Marriage Matters, we will just be discussing various topics, everything that pertains to marriage and relationships, whether you are in a heterosexual relationship or you might even be in a same sex relationship. The bottom line is a relationship, and we all have issues. We all face the same types of issues regardless of the type of relationship that we are in. And today what we're going to talk about is friends. We're going to talk about friends, how to navigate friendships, friendships in general, but more specifically friendships with the opposite sex or the same sex if you're in a same sex relationship. Because, we all have friends, Frank.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
you had a life before I met you.
Sure.
You had friends before I met you.
I think so.
And I had a life before you met me.
Absolutely.
So our relationships, our marriages don't exist in a vacuum. We have friends. Some friends we had when we met each other. Some friends come along later on during the course of the relationship. But the bottom line is we all have friends within our relationship. So the question is, how are we going to navigate it? What those friendships are going to look like? What do you think, Frank?
They have been and can be challenging depending on how the husband or wife might feel about someone they've never met. Those are challenging questions and issues you have to resolve.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, I don't know when Bismarck he made this song, but he had that song, just you say he's just a friend. Apparently there was some chick that he was liking and she had this friend and she told him he was just a friend, but from his perspective it didn't look so much like just a friend. So he was questioning, you say he's just a friend, but is he really a friend? And I remember, Frank, I don't know if it was either Chris Rock or Eddie Murphy had this joke about men and women being just friends. What either one of them said was, if a man has a woman in his life that is just a platonic friend, is all it is someone that he has not had sex with yet. But he didn't say sex. He used some other kind of word. Okay, so I don't necessarily think that that is true. What are your thoughts on
I
that?
don't either because I can think back where I had friends of the opposite sex and the sex issue never ever came up. Does it have the potential to come up? Sure, depending on where you find yourself with that person of the opposite sex. Of course, it could come up, but I've had women who were nothing but just friends.
Yeah. So I also believe that men and women can be just friends. But I also know that when a person is in a committed relationship or in a marriage, you have to be careful in how you navigate those friendships. So I remember I read a recent study and it was in the Journal of Science and Personal Relationships. And according to this study, it indicated that there's a vast difference in the way that men and women perceive their opposite sex friendships. That men were more likely to express an attraction to their platonic friend, and they thought the woman felt the same way. But the women were less likely to perceive their male friends in an express an attraction, and they thought the men felt the same way. The women had the men in the friend zone, and they figured the guy felt the same way. Now, and what about same sex relationships? I don't know if anybody is on here or will watch who's in the same sex relationship, but they have to navigate their friendships as well. What are your thoughts on that, Frank?
I'm not sure if I have too much to say about safe sex. Not to knock it, to each his own. I'm just not sure. But again, we're talking about people. We're talking about the same issue regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women, two men, two women, you're going to have the same kind of issues.
Absolutely. So, is inappropriate, this is a question I want to pose right now. Is inappropriate sexual contact the only way to violate the friendship boundary?
Is that for me?
Mm-hmm.
No. Doesn't have to be what you just mentioned. It could be secret text messages, maybe going out with that friend without your spouse or significant other person knowing that you're doing this thing. So a lot of ways to violate that.
Absolutely. And I have read that when someone has an emotional affair,
Mhm.
it can be even more devastating than a sexual one. So, sexual intimacy is not the only way to violate a friendship, because you could get very close emotionally to someone and violate those boundaries of friendship where you are engaging with that friend more than you're engaging with
Mhm.
your spouse, and doing more things with that friend than you're doing with your spouse. So, sex is not the only way
Mhm.
to violate the boundaries of a friendship. So, um, another question from your perspective:
Okay.
who has the greater responsibility for protecting the relationship, the partner or the friend?
Hmm. I mean, it's the partners because friends come and go. You would like to think your friend has loyalty to you, the
Mm-hmm.
person that's the friend with, but they actually it's not their responsibility. It's yours to check them at all times.
Yeah, and one of my good friends who happens to be male, one of my best friends in the world, Danny Taylor, he told me something many years ago that has stuck with me all this time. And he said, Val, everyone who is your friend is not necessarily
Mhm.
a friend of your marriage. So someone could be your friend, but they're not necessarily a friend of your marriage. And that means that they don't respect the sanctity of the marriage or the committed relationship that you are in. So it's possible to have someone who's a good friend. They're a good friend to you, but not necessarily a good friend to your marriage or to
Mhm.
your committed relationship. So here's another question, Frank. You can ask me that one.
What number?
Mm-hmm.
And let me move this over. Eyes on what they used to be. How do you respond if your partner objects to your friend, same or opposite gender?
Mm.
Mhm.
How do you respond to that? Well, the appropriate response first, the first thing to do is to have a conversation about it, to talk about what is the objection, why do you object,
Okay.
where is this coming from, is it something that you have seen, is a feeling that you have. And listen, I'm gonna talk from a woman's perspective because I'm a woman, and sometimes we have those women intuition. And listen, no disrespect, babe,
Well, why are you about to say that?
but sometimes he is so blind. And listen, if there are wives who are listening, I'm sure you can concur that we can pick up on things many times a lot sooner than our husbands can, because there's a certain vibe that we can pick up on. So the first thing to do is have a conversation about it.
I,
Where's this coming from? Go ahead.
I would agree. The challenges I found with that was when I felt my man who was being challenged, and I was told you can't, as opposed to having a conversation as to why.
Mm-hmm,
I'd be
mm-hmm,
more willing. I probably still struggle and fought against it,
mm-hmm.
but as our marriage progressed, I'd be more willing to listen as to why, opposed to being told you can't do so and so. And here
Yeah,
I am, a grown man with kids and grandkids and
yeah,
everything
a
else. You
grown ass
telling me
man.
what I can't do. But I will say, sometimes it was good to hear what you can't do. I just had to listen.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right, because there was a point in our marriage when there wasn't a discussion. When I felt a certain vibe, I would say, "Listen, this chick got to go." Okay, I she's sniffing all down behind my husband. Okay, do you think she a friend? She's pretending to be a friend, but she's not really a friend. And even if she's your friend, she's not a friend of our marriage. And he's right. Early on in the earlies of our marriage, I would get my whole behind up on my shoulders and say, listen, you cannot be this person's friend. Hey, sissy, how you doing? You cannot be this person's friend. That's what I would say. Now we have progressed to the point where if something like that were to occur, we would have a conversation about it. And I believe that Frank would be more receptive because my approach would be different.
And because she was right in the past too.
And
so.
because, hello, a sister no, a sister no, a sister no, a sister no. Yes, indeed. I was right in the past. Sissy, how you doing? Grace and peace to you too, my sister. So, what about if you have friends of the opposite sex and you go out to lunch, you go out to dinner, go roller skating, go bowling, stuff like that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as long as I don't know if
Hey,
this,
Rondra.
well, because I've known or I've seen you have, I'm not sure how to put it, but I think as long as you're transparent, inclusive, you always have to include your partner. Hey, listen, Michelle wants to go bowling, and make it a group type thing, especially if your partner has whatever feelings they have about it. You don't just want to go blindly and do it. Right. Try to include him or her in it, make it a group thing, or invite that friend over to your house if your partner hasn't met them, so they can be comfortable and feel relaxed about this person that you might have known as long as your partner, or like you said, long before.
Yeah. So listen, because I'm not so sure how I would feel. Now, there are a couple of friends of his that if he were to say to me, Val, me and Regina, we going out to lunch, we're going out to dinner, no problem. I got no problem. Regina is like his sister. Regina is like my sister-in-law. He knew her when they were in elementary school, right?
6, 7 years old.
6 or 7 years old, kids, long before he met me. But now, if there's some new chick that he just met talking about going to lunch, Houston, we got a problem. Okay? Hey, Ariel. Okay, your brother just got married and was fighting with his fiance beforehand. He was talking to other women. Oh, what, he blocked her. Oh, he blocked the fiance, or he blocked the other women, Ariel? I hope it was the other women that he blocked. Yeah, so I think it really depends, because just like my friend Danny, you wouldn't have a problem. You don't have a problem with me and Danny going out to eat.
No, I'm just kidding. No, early on, I wanted to know who this person was, and just like I said, Val gave me an opportunity to be around him, talk to him, and feel comfortable with a man I know nothing about.
Right. So I think it really depends.
Yeah.
You have to really know your partner's friend and be comfortable with them. Oh, he blocked his fiance, Ariel. Oh, that's serious. So my question to you is, are they still engaged? Oh, yeah, you said he just got married. Oh, my goodness. Blocked the fiance. Okay, maybe I'm not understanding, because you say he just got married and he blocked the fiance. Maybe it was the previous someone he was engaged to that was an ex-fiance. Is that what you mean? But anyway, yeah, you have to consider who the person is. Do they respect the relationship? Do you feel comfortable with them? And here's the T word: trust. Trust is huge when it comes to navigating friendships.
Yeah, I think if trust is, no, not I think, I know if trust is already violated, broken, it becomes harder for either spouse to be comfortable with your friend who might be of the opposite sex. I got female friends that maybe she's not too familiar with, or maybe she knows. But if there's some trust issues, it's going to be extremely hard to trust you, her husband, or your wife being with that friend. Absolutely.
Definitely, because when trust is broken, it's not broken in just this one little area. It's broken across the board. So when it's done, it's done. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? When it's done, it's done. But again, do you trust? Do you trust your spouse? Do you trust his friend? How comfortable are you with their relationship? Does this friend show proper respect, because it's
Excuse me.
important to show proper respect, to respect the sanctity of your friend's marriage or relationship and not violate the boundaries. Good to see you too, Lisa Hopkins, my sister. I love you.
It's correct.
Because I remember when there was a time and when at Change Church when I wanted to talk to Brother Emeka.
Mhm.
He was a teacher. I was a teacher's assistant, and I told him I wanted to have a conversation with him after our class was over. But I didn't say just him. I said with you and your wife. And that's because there's a scripture. I think it's in First Thessalonians. It said in King James version to avoid even the appearance of evil or wrongdoing. So I didn't think it was appropriate for me to be up in the room by myself with me and this married man having a conversation with the door closed. So I asked him to invite his wife into the conversation. And those are the ways in which that's how you can show due respect for someone else's marriage. So they don't, so the partner can feel comfortable as well.
And that puts men or women, kind of gives them notice, because guys tend to misread things. But if you come out like that from the beginning, hopefully there's no misunderstanding.
Hopefully there's no misunderstanding. Absolutely. Now here's a tricky one. And Frank and I talk about this. Do you and your friend, do you greet each other with a hug? Do you kiss? And do you kiss on the cheek or do you kiss on the lips? I'm gonna sit right back here. Let my husband answer this one.
Why are you gonna let me answer it? You ready? I'll answer it. There have been times where, and sometimes it's the person. It's not that they had any bad intention. It's just how they are. But there have been times in my life where, again, because of where I've been in terms of my marriage, it made me feel uncomfortable, because if it was seen by my wife, I didn't want her to misread that. And it, because of the, like I said, the issues we've had, if I received something like that, it made me uncomfortable. If I had never been down into those roads, I might not have looked at it any kind of way other than someone else, how they like to greet people. Might not just be me, but it was me at that moment. That's I felt a certain some way.
Yeah.
And you try to avoid it. Again, I just wanted to avoid it so I didn't have to be uncomfortable and maybe explain it again. And it had nothing to do with the other person. They just did it that way.
Yeah. And Frank and I have talked about this because he does have friends, a female friend, who kind of greet that way. And we've had conversations about it. And he's right. I'm not 100% comfortable with it, but because I know the individuals, I don't make a big stink about it because I trust them. And at this point in our marriage, I trust him. I ain't always trust the brother, but I can say I trust you now, babe. And I'm reading Ariel's comment. You said your boyfriend, he doesn't want to meet your friends because of certain lifestyle choices they engage in. You feel he acts a little jealous and sometimes accusatory, and that is frustrating. So, Ariel, I would highly recommend that you and your boyfriend have a serious heart-to-heart, come to Jesus conversation about this. What are these lifestyle choices that your friends are making that he doesn't agree with? Are these your single friends who are hanging out and engaging in certain activities that he feels uncomfortable with and doesn't want you to be with them? What is it exactly that he is objecting to? And can there be some sort of compromise? You saying that he doesn't even want to meet the friends. Maybe if he met them, he would have a different opinion about them. So I would strongly suggest have a serious conversation and encourage him to meet them and then form an opinion. If he's never met them, my question is, how is he forming an opinion about them? Is he seeing something? Is it information he's getting from you or from someone else? So that's the question. If he's never met them, how is he forming an opinion about them? So I want to ask here's some questions to ask regarding your friendship, your opposite sex friend if you are heterosexual, and your same sex friend if you are in a same sex relationship, because they face, like I said, some of the same issues that we do. Now, the first one is your spouse or significant other, are they unaware of the friendship? Do they know about the friendship? Is this someone that you are hiding from them, that you're not telling them about. Okay. Frank and I have now been together for 41 years, and next month we will have been married for 40 years. So if the brother come now and talk about a friend, and then there's somebody that I don't know, and he said, "Oh, this person been my friend for a certain number of years." Oh, really? Where? From when? I've known you for 41 years. So I think I know all of his friends. If he talks about someone, go ahead.
But see, the problem we come to face sometimes, the use of that word friends, that becomes an issue.
That's a good point.
Because I have developed reconnections with people that I was in grade school with, high school with, that my wife has never known anything about, never seen. And I might categorize them as friends. So that term sometimes, causes an issue. I find myself doing that a lot, as opposed to say reconnecting with people I went to school. We were friends back then. But obviously life does what it does, and we've reconnected because of social media. So there are people, in this case, since we're talking about this subject, women that I reconnected with through Facebook and our Facebook page, but because she has access to the page, it's women that transparency. I might be talking about someone, but Val's able to see what our conversation's about or stuff like that, and it makes it a little bit easier.
Oh, it makes it a whole lot easier, because if I didn't see the conversation now, Houston, now we got two problems, okay? Because I don't know if you all are aware of it, but there are many relationships and marriages that have been adversely affected by one partner or the other reconnecting with old friends on Facebook. Social media is a great thing, but in the hands of the wrong person, it can be misused. So that's where, and I'm glad Frank used that word transparency. That's where that transparency comes in. Because when he started talking about a friend, I'm saying, who that? Who is this person? Where do you know this person from? What are these conversations like? Because see, listen, I'm inquisitive. I'm going to, and inquisitive.
Nosy. No, but it's all right. She earned the right to be nosy.
I earned the right to be nosy. 41 years, you daggone right. I earned the right to ask all these questions, and not just ask the question, but
expect an answer.
Expect an answer. And we are at the point in our relationship now where that is no longer a problem. It wasn't always that way. We've had a lot of issues, trust issues, infidelity issues, both part, him and me. It wasn't just him. I like to tell people that it was just him, but it wasn't just him. It was both of us. Okay. I know he did it a lot more, tell you the truth. But anyway, our marriage is no longer at that place. We're at a much different place now. So yes, I ask the questions, I expect an answer, and my husband provides those answers. So here's another question, Frank, to ask regarding your opposite friend, your opposite sex friend if you are heterosexual, and your same sex friend if you are in a same sex relationship.
Okay. Would you have behaved differently around your friend if your spouse were present?
Yes, absolutely. Let me tell you, I think my mama, might have been my mother who said this to me a long time ago, to not, if you're doing something in the absence of your spouse or significant other that you would not do with them sitting right next to you, that is a warning sign. That's a warning sign. Because I have, like me and my good friend Danny, there's nothing we do that we would not do with Frank sitting right next to us. We talk, we laugh, we might share a glass of wine and just cut the fool. Okay, and we would do that with Frank sitting right there. And sometimes we've done it in front of Frank, and he gets annoyed because he feels like we're having so much fun.
I remember that, but whatever.
But yes, that is a good gauge to utilize if you're asking yourself the question, would I do this if my spouse was sitting right next to me? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't ought to be doing it. Another question to ask about these friendships is, would you feel uncomfortable if your spouse or your significant other had the same quality of friendship with someone as you do?
Say that again?
Mhm.
please.
Would you feel uncomfortable? For instance, like, would you feel uncomfortable with your friend? Would
Mhm.
you feel uncomfortable if I had the same kind of friendship with the man?
Of course, you're not. Of course, you are not supposed to be as close to him as I am. If I'm
No,
understanding it.
no. The question is this: let's say you had a problem with let's say you got a friend,
Okay.
right?
We use Gary. Gary's my friend.
No, no, gotta use a female.
Oh,
You
okay,
got a
okay,
female
okay.
friend.
My fault.
Okay, I got a male friend.
Right.
All right. Now, are you going to be as upset with me because I got this male friend, even though you have a female friend? Are you going to be as upset with me because we're basically it's a level playing field? We both got friends of the opposite sex.
No, no, I can't. I don't think I would be in a position to get upset because, like I said, I have a friend. You have a friend. As long as I know what's going on, I don't feel there's any reason. Now, if I didn't have a friend, I could see where
Mm-hmm.
jealousy might creep in,
Mm-hmm.
selfishness. Oh, she got a friend. I ain't got a friend. She can't. I don't want you around. And human nature might kick in that way. But I don't think. No, I think I'd be all right.
Okay.
Because I think you have some. Well, again, we're using that word friend.
Yeah.
Got to be kind of careful. You have some associates with
Acquaintances.
male that you talk to,
Mm-hmm.
and I might not. It don't bother me.
Mm-hmm. Because could you trust me, boo?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have my doubts. I think it's human nature. At any time, even the best of relationships, marriages in this case especially,
Florence.
you get those
Hannah.
thoughts come in your head. But then what do you do with them? Do you
Mm-hmm,
become
mm-hmm,
accusatory? But you have every right, even on the best of marriages, you have every right, if there's a twinge of doubt, to ask.
Always, always ask.
But the longer you don't ask, the more builds up. I
Yes.
use this analogy. Some guy, when I started working in correction, he used to say to me, Chase, come in like this, okay? Because you can easily let stuff out, in terms of questions and doubt. But if you come in like that, like in terms of not asking the questions and all that doubt build up, now it becomes so hard to close because you never dealt with none of those issues before.
Absolutely. Hey, Florence. Hey, Hannah. Absolutely right. Yeah, transparency. Do you spend time alone with your opposite sex friend rather than in a group setting? We talked about, I think we hit on that already,
Mm-hmm.
about it depends on who the friend is and the comfort level of your spouse or your significant other with that friend. Now, here's another question to ask about this opposite sex friend or same sex friend. Is your friend someone you would consider dating if you were single? Now, if the answer to that is yes, I would highly recommend not being friends with that individual because that says that there's an attraction there.
Mm-hmm.
There's an attraction there. And it wouldn't take, probably would not take much to cross that boundary, especially if you're spending time with this friend and you're talking and you and your spouse now are having, let's say you have a bad day, you have an argument,
Mm-hmm.
you have a fight, you'll run into this friend. You're already attracted to the friend. You're sitting on the couch, oh, Frank, I'm so sorry you and Val are going through that. And here's the line. If you were my man, I would do thus and so and thus and so.
But with those issues, if we're honest as men and women, there might be some attraction, a physical attraction to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Then you make sure you avoid being alone with them, calling them at certain hours of the night. You might even have to cut it off completely.
Yeah.
That might be the best thing.
I think cutting it off completely is the best way to go. I don't know if I've ever had a friend that I was physically attracted to, not just a platonic friend. Now,
well,
if I'm attracted,
if she did, I don't know about him either.
No, I've never had a purely platonic friend that I have felt a physical attraction to.
See, and well, I can admit that early on in our marriage, there was someone who I thought I'm not going to say I was physically attracted. I thought they were attractive, but that's all my thoughts went on. Never went beyond that. I never thought about anything other than that the person was attractive, but they remained a platonic friend.
Yeah.
All my life.
Yeah, but see, there's a difference between finding someone attractive
Mm-hmm.
and being attracted to that individual.
Okay. Okay.
Now, do I have male friends that I think are attractive? Yes, absolutely. But am I attracted to them?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got that look on
See,
his face.
these,
But
these,
you believe
these,
it.
these are the maybe the real friends that she can reach out and touch. But there are those other people that she'd be attracted to. The TV stars.
Oh, come
I'm
on. He talking about Idris Elba,
or
y'all.
Denzel.
No, no,
People
no.
like that.
Denzel,
Oh,
no,
he in the
no,
back of the
no,
phone.
no, no. Denzel is on a higher level. He's on a
Okay.
pedestal. No, I couldn't do anything with Denzel. But if I ever meet Idris Elba, baby, I think he give you a run for your money.
You see
Okay,
that?
he give you a run for your money. Now here's another question to ask about your friend. Has your spouse ever expressed concern about the friendship? Now, if your spouse has expressed concern about the friendship, now the question becomes, how are you going to respond to that? What are you going to do? How are you going to address it? Um, because those concerns should not be dismissed. They should be taken seriously. Even if you feel that there's nothing going on, nothing could possibly go on, everything is okay, it's above board. Um, I think you should still take your spouse or significant other's concern very, very seriously. And again, have that conversation. So we want to give some guidelines. Here are some guidelines for navigating friends. It could apply to friends of the opposite sex or friends of the same sex, but we're primarily addressing friends of the opposite sex as far as heterosexual couples go. And for same sex couples, that would be friends of the same sex. Because if two men are in a relationship and they have one of them has a male that's a friend, they have to navigate the same sort of issues. And the same thing if there are two women that are in a relationship. Okay. So the guideline number one is never prioritize your friendship over your partner.
Yeah, I obviously agree. You don't want to be bringing issues in the house, making your wife or your husband feel like their friend is more important than them.
Mm-hmm,
and there have been times in my life where I thought, or felt that someone was more important. But, that was just my way of hiding what I might have been trying to do or whatever the case is. But
and he was young, he was young and dumb. Okay. Now he's not old, he's older and smarter. But listen, they don't call it young and dumb for nothing. We all have a young and dumb self that made a lot of errors, made a lot of mistakes, and we sometimes maybe wish we could go back and just do it all over. Okay. Ariel, I want to we're going to have a conversation offline after this. I'm going to contact you. Okay. So we can talk. So another guideline is, what's another guideline, babe?
don't hide or lie about activities with your friend.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, again, there should be probably less or no activities with your opposite sex friend, especially if your partner has expressed some concerns about that person. So they're probably, well, I mean, some of those activities, obviously, the less evil could be on the telephone or text messaging. You want those to be able to be seen or shown if need be. But going out with someone, again, that's where, when, and who.
Yeah. But I think that there are some relationships that can handle that. There are some relationships where either one or the other would be okay with their spouse or their significant other going bowling with their friend, going roller skating with their friend, going out for drinks with their friend. I think there are some relationships where that would be okay. Ours is not, because of the challenges that we have faced and the things that we have gone through.
Correct.
That's the main reason why we have to have more stringent boundaries, perhaps, than some other couples do. So here's another guideline for navigating these relationships. Don't insist that your partner become friends with your opposite sex friend. Now, if Frank has a female that's a friend and he was Val, come on to meet her, you want to meet her, y'all could be friends too. Maybe I want to be friends with her. maybe I don't like her. It wouldn't be fair of him to insist that I become her friend too. Now, what I will say, if she's got a partner, a man, she's got something, okay, we can double date. We can do that. But she and I don't have to be BFFs. So don't insist that your partner become good friends with your friend, because a person may just be your friend and they may not mesh. They may not like each other. The personalities may clash. And now what are you going to do?
So the question that comes to mind, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not forcing your partner to become friends with your opposite friend,
Mm-hmm.
should your partner say, well, since I don't want to be friends with her or him, you can't be either?
Well, again, it depends on why.
Okay.
Listen, if there's some woman that I think is sniffing after you,
Well, that's
and
different. Yeah,
you think that she's just a friend, no.
I understand that.
Okay. But
But
outside of that, then something we have to talk about and
mhm.
try to come to some sort of compromise, because I think it's unreasonable to just say out of hand, no, you can't be friends with this person. I want you to end that friendship. And there's no legitimate reason to end that friendship. There's been nothing inappropriate. There's been no disrespect. Um, you're not getting any vibe that the person is trying to come on to your partner. It's just because of what you're feeling inside, maybe your own insecurities. And honestly speaking, that was a lot of the issue that I had with your female friends early in our marriage, because I had a lot of insecurities, very very low self-esteem. So I did not want him really to be around any other female like that, because I felt threatened by it because of my own insecurities. Another guideline for navigating these friendships is do not flirt with or inappropriately touch your friend of the opposite sex. Don't flirt.
If obviously flirting as in, no, I'm not gonna say. I don't know if I could even think flirting is innocent, but sometimes a smile can be misinterpreted by the person that sees a
Mm-hmm.
smile. But who determines what's inappropriate? Because you have a tendency, you're talking and you're touching
Yes,
someone
that's
else,
true.
and to
Mm-hmm.
you that's innocent. But again, if I don't like it, we have a discussion. You have to try to work on keeping your hands off of somebody.
Right, and then it depends on where I'm touching him. If I'm all on some man and we're talking and I'm like this,
Yeah, well,
that's
yeah,
inappropriate.
obviously,
But if
right.
I'm talking to someone and I just do like that, is that inappropriate? Now, to me, it is not inappropriate. However, if my husband says to me, Val, it bothers me, it makes me uncomfortable when you're talking to a man and you put your hand on his shoulders. Now it's up to me. The onus is now on me. Am I going to take corrective action, or am I going to ignore it because I think that it's not inappropriate? So now the onus is on me. And the appropriate response is for me to not do that anymore because it makes my husband uncomfortable. To me, it's nothing. But if to him it's something, then now this onus is on me. I've got to do something about it. And what about this one? The next guideline. Yeah.
Is it this one?
I think we talked about that already.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Consider whether this person was your partner's friend before you met them.
Yes. To me, that makes a
Yeah.
huge difference. If the friend is someone who was a part of your spouse or significant other's life before you came on the scene. Now, again, even if they were on the scene prior and they disrespect, now they get treated like everybody else. But someone that Frank knew and was friends with before he met me, I feel very, very differently about them than someone, let's say, he might have met 6 months ago, and now all of a sudden he wants to say this person is his friend. Okay, I'm gonna look at this person a whole lot differently. Why is she your friend? Why is she your friend? Okay, what y'all got in common? Is this just someone? And see, again, it gets back to using that term, friend. Is this someone you just have a work friendship with, a work relationship with? That's not necessarily a friend. If it's somebody that you only see at work and you have passing conversations, that's not really a friend. That's a work relationship, a work friendship. A real friend to me is someone you talk outside of work. You may have conversations on the phone. You may text each other. Um, if you have a cookout, they may come to your house for your cookout, or you may go to their house with your family for a cookout. So that is a friend, not someone you just passing at work. Another question to consider when navigating these friendships is another guideline. The partner with the friend must be honest with themselves about their intention for the friendship. Okay? What's your intention for this friendship, especially if it's a new friend? Now, if imagine, imagine Frank comes here. Oh, Val, I met this new friend, Sally. I got this new friend, blah, blah, blah. I meet Sally. And Sally got tits out to here and butt out to there. And she all like this and open my house. Why are you friends with this chick? What y'all, how did this friendship come about? Okay. So he would have to now answer some questions. Honestly, what's your intention with this friendship? Because I wouldn't get that. I wouldn't get it. What do you have to say?
How does, what I'm thinking in my mind, first of all, you have to describe her like that. Why can't she be less protruding up and top? But that aside, and what ran through my mind, because I know it's going to have to answer the question, do we always know our intentions with anyone from the start?
Yes. Yes, I would say. There is an intention in the beginning, even if it does not remain the same.
Okay.
Because there is an intention in the beginning to either be just friends or to groom them for a potential relationship at some other point. Or in the beginning, that there is something. There is always an intention in the beginning. Again, like I said, it may change later on, but you know why you're somebody's friend. I know why I'm somebody's friend. I'm friends with someone because we have good conversations. We enjoy some of the same things. We have some things in common. We enjoy each other's company. We have a good time together. And this is someone that I feel like we can kind of mesh with. Hey, Rico, my daughter-in-law. We can spend time together and enjoy each other's company. But imagine now, imagine I come home with a guy look like Mars Chestnut, and I say, "Oh, Frank, this is my new friend."
Well, Mars Chestnut is going to get his head nutted up. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I guess what would bother me if I knew nothing about this person prior to him coming to my door. So we're going to have an issue right then and there. But if it's someone that maybe I knew about, no, you know what? No, he can't even come to the house. I don't even want him to know where you live. Let's
exactly.
We have to discuss that.
So again, absolutely. That's again. Consider the intention. Why is this person your friend? Is it because you are attracted to them on some level and you want to be in their company under the guise of friendship? That's why we have to be honest with ourselves, because we don't lie to anybody more than we lie to ourselves.
That's true.
But sometimes we have to give ourselves a reality check. Why am I this person's friend? Okay, because they fine, or it's just nothing. What's going on? Another guideline is to don't share personal relationship issues with the friend of the opposite sex. Now, I put quite a lot of question marks about that guideline. And here's the reason why. Because, we do. I have shared stuff about our relationship with Danny, and I'm sure you have shared stuff about our relationship with Regina.
But again, these are people who the friendship label really fits and have been in our life from conception, have seen us go through some of these issues, have, and for lack of a better word, counseled us and told us about us, so you feel comfortable that sharing something with them, they have no ulterior motive. They're going to tell you how they feel. They're not going to be saying good. Now they can step in. So there are people that you can share some information.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with. That's why I put a question mark next to that particular guideline. But if it's someone who is a relatively new friend, I would say tread very carefully in terms of how much relationship information you share with them, because that person could very well use that information against your relationship. And you may not even um, suspect it. You may not see that coming. So you have to be careful. But again, the friends that we shared our relationship information with were friends that have been in our life for a long, long time. A long, long time. But again, Ariel said, try not to air your dirty laundry to friends. Yeah. And family is a definite no. You got to be careful with family too, in terms of sharing relationship information.
Yeah.
So the bottom line to all of this is, can men and women be just friends? I think we have established that yes, they can be. It has to be navigated carefully, respectfully, and transparently, especially if you are in a marriage or a committed relationship. Because if not, you can have a whole host of problems in your marriage if you don't navigate those friendships. And again, we're talking about opposite sex friends for those who are in a heterosexual relationship, and same sex friends for those who are in a same sex relationship. I mean, because like our daughter is in a same sex relationship and she's married, but her and her wife both have female friends, and they learned how to navigate those friendships in such a way that the marriage is not disrespected. So it doesn't matter. In the words of Phil Donahue, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or shaped like an S. If you are in a relationship, you're going to face some of the same issues. So yes, men and women can be friends, but we have to navigate it carefully. You have any last words?
No.
So I just want to thank you all for being with us. If you watched it live, or if you're watching it later, you can reach out to us at marriagebeyondthebreach.com. That's our website. I provide relationship coaching for marriages, for any relationship. I also provide individual services as well. So if you or your partner, or if you and your partner are in need of some counseling, you can reach out to me at marriagebeyondthebreach.com is our website. You can email me at Valerie@marriagebeyondthebreach.com, Valerie@marriagebeyondthebreach.com. And again, my motto is that no matter what challenge your relationship faces, no matter what happens in your relationship, if you both are willing to do the work, no marriage is beyond redemption. No marriage is beyond redemption. So reach out to us, send me an email, go to the website. What's the other thing? Messenger, whatever it is. I would love to hear from you. Questions, comments, whatever. And if there's a subject that you would, a relationship subject that you would love to have us discuss, reach out to me and let me know. We'll be back periodically, every couple of weeks or so, with a different topic that pertains to marriage and other committed relationships. Thank you all again. God bless you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.